identify problems that others don't realize maybe they have. So it's compelling, right? It's a compelling value proposition to think about, should I encrypt? Why shouldn't I do that? And I think we're moving towards a world where everybody becomes a lot more cognizant of the risks of not doing so. I really liked how he was thinking about it, or at least what he showed us in the Dropbox demo. But I think to be successful, he's going to absolutely have to get across platform into Drive and other places. Otherwise, it just won't scale.
Do you think that small businesses might be interested in it too? Because they did have it, at least for now, on the iPad, on the iPhone, and then on the web too.
Absolutely.
Excellent. All right. So, Consensus. I believe I'm saying that right. Herschel, do you think that this can really help businesses with handling their overhead? You know, that being, I guess, kind of replacing the people who would take care of these kinds of issues.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about debt collection, right? And you know, you have to have for a solution like that, you've got to have lots of folks that are delinquent. We already use that. I know the target market they're going after was SMBs, but I actually think larger companies is a better target market because they probably have a broad base of consumers. Where in a polite way, the user experience was really amazing. I think you know, Judy was amazing.
Do you think that people in debt would be interested in using a service like that?
Well, if you're in debt for a reason. I don't know. I mean, that's the part that I question, whether you know a payment plan or you know, or settling is something that would be interesting for them. But if it's a last resort right before you know the debt collector calls, you know, it's a much better user experience for both parties.
So let's move on to Loan Garage. Jason, do you feel like, or what do you think of them going after emerging markets?
So, you know, perhaps in emerging markets, this is something that reminded me of other tools that try to take people that want to be maybe you know, part-time lenders, right? So for angel investors, we have AngelList, right? I'm on there, I'm an angel investor. I'm not a sophisticated investor like a VC. So perhaps this is one of those tools that allows people that want to just do part-time lending could sign up and be on the service. And emerging market, maybe even developed countries as well.
Do you think that the web can really keep private lenders transparent?
Well, that is a good question. Whether you know, first of all, whether transparency is a real concern. You know, in some of these tools we've seen from others, you know, there's social proof elements and other things you can bring in that actually adds value to you know, to any kind of transparent or opposite environment.
Wire Surfer. Now, VentureBeat, we have had a hell of a time figuring out our internet, and so I looked at this and I actually kind of loved it. I thought it was really interesting comparison shopping for your internet. What do you think of that? And do you think that if there are more components to setting up internet that businesses just wouldn't be able to use the site for, or?
You know, I mean, when we were doing Mevo, it was really tough getting our phone system set up and internet set up. It was a total pain. So it definitely solves a pain point. I think when I was looking at their site, the two questions I really had was, A, where's their like true user lock-in? So Expedia, Kayak, like they're very similar, right, in the travel space. Like those guys pointed out, I'd love to see them do something where they learn about their customers over time and then can give them constantly better offers, and with that data, they get lock-in from their customers. I think that would be pretty awesome. And then I was hoping for the comparisons user experience. I'd love to see that in like a comparisons grid to make it like super brain dead simple. But you know, definitely opportunity, clear monetization stream. Just you know, would love to see that user lock-in piece.
Quickly, what did you think of the UI, just the way of comparison shopping on there?
I just, you know, it was kind of like a flat list, and I think when you're doing comparisons, you tend to see kind of like each option right next to each other, kind of ordered in rows and columns. So if they just did a little UX work, I think it would be a lot easier to scan really fast for the user.
I actually thought they needed to do a lot of UX work. I was even more overwhelmed, right? I mean, that's the problem. You get into these phone carrier plans, and you start talking to somebody, and you're like, wow, okay, do I want the French fries? Do I want the small Coke? What do I want with this thing, right? It gets very complicated quickly, and their UI didn't solve that problem at all. If you think about Uber solved a really, right, so there's a lot of things about Uber that are really genius, but the one thing that I've always found the most compelling is that it took the angst out of once I reserved a car or a taxi or transportation, it took the angst out of it because I could see the visualization
You knew it
of
was
it,
coming.
right? So simplifying, taking that angst away from me would be helpful.
There's a lot of angst around that. So Trinity, Tony, this wasn't for consumers. I was actually a little confused by the presentation. What did you think of it, and what did you think of the way how that looked?
Yeah, I can't quite remember exactly what they did, right? But I can read my notes.
Bidding.
I just like a big change of behavior without a cost benefit. A lot of inputs. And then I said I love their tagline, be the change, use the cloud. But I can't remember what they did.
Yeah, so this is one of those things where none of us are in procurement. We're not trying to procure thousands of widgets to add to our products. So we can't quite relate, but you can see the flow. And it's a very, very elegantly designed. You can see how this would really solve email flow and other tools that are probably used in this space. One thing that I'd like to see is, in addition to putting out items for bidding, how about real-time information? Tying into Alibaba or other sourcing providers real-time and bringing in data, as well as allowing it to bid out to lower the costs.
Yeah, that one's just crying out for integration with ERP systems, even though I know they're saying that they want it to be independent, but that really is. And it doesn't really solve the one problem of how do you actually find the supplier. So I think tying in a supplier merchant-based tool probably makes a ton of sense.
Right. All right, flying through Jack's wallet. Jason, I love the idea of being able to put my price. Obviously, I want to pay what I want to pay. But my favorite brands are J. Crew or Banana Republic, and I do not see them, taking my price. I want that sweater for $3 please.
Yeah, this is a potentially very exciting, right? So many of us have the Amazon app on our smartphones, and we scan items, and Amazon gives you a price, and there's no negotiation ability. In fact, not only is there no negotiation, but the Amazon will actually raise the price on you as time passes because they know that you want it, and you've looked at it a second or a third time, and this is all proven. So the idea that I can actually engage with the seller and and have some kind of a two-way communication is very attractive, but it is indeed a challenge trying to get all those places signed up.
Yeah, I think on this one, Tony leaned over to me, he said the exact same thing I was thinking, which is there are a lot of moving variables on that one. They're trying to solve a lot of problems, and for entrepreneurs, it's really important to focus and solve one problem really well. I think they're trying to solve 2 or 3 problems, on focusing in on one.